Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you all a recipe for Goja or Gujiya, and thank you to Danica for sharing her recipe with me so that I can share it with you all. So let's get started on making this.
So to make this, I have my skillet or my heavy bottom pan on a medium heat, and I'm going to go in with my coconut. To this, I'm going to spice this up by adding some cardamom powder. The cardamom powder is optional, so if you don't have it, you don't have to put it. I'm going in with some pumpkin spice, and this is my own blend of pumpkin spice. The recipe is on my channel. And some grated nutmeg, and I always like using fresh, not the pre-grated one. In goes some red or some pink food coloring and a little bit of vanilla. And now I'm going in with the last ingredient, which is some sugar to help sweeten this. Now you can put as much or as little sugar as you want. And what we're going to do now is we're going to cook this until it feels sticky. By doing it this way, it helps the coconut to be really sticky and nice. When you put it in the middle of your dough, it's not going to fall out. It's going to hold together really well. So I'm gonna cook this here for about 15 minutes on medium-low heat. So guys, I forgot to tell you all ginger, so I'm gonna add that in now, and I'm gonna continue to mix this. And you want to mix well because you want to distribute that ginger evenly. So guys, I'm going to go in with some raisins. You can use the dark one or you can use the lighter version. Now the raisins are totally optional if you didn't want to put it in this recipe. So feel free to add it or omit it. And we're gonna cook this here for about 10 minutes. Okay, so this is finished. I just want to set it aside and allow it to cool down, and as you guys can see, there's no water in there, and that's what you want. You want a dry filling because if it's wet, it's gonna burst through your dough. Okay, so now to make the dough, so to my all-purpose flour, we're gonna season our dough because we want to carry those flavors through. So I'm going in with some cardamom powder, and I'm going in with some of that pumpkin spice that we used in the recipe for the filling. We're going to go in with baking powder and yeast. If you didn't want to add yeast, you can omit it and add the same amount of baking powder. So just replace the yeast with baking powder. I'm going to go in with a drizzle of honey, and the honey is optional. And I'm adding in some ghee. Now I always have ghee in my home, but if you can't find ghee, you can use unsalted butter for this recipe. Now we just want to mix those ingredients and cut that ghee into the flour. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my fingers, and I'm going to go in with some lukewarm water, and we're going to knead this to bring it together to form a medium dough. You don't want it to be too soft, and you don't want it to be too hard. So I would say like a sada roti consistency would be fine. Now I'm going to pull in and push out. Then we want to help the gluten to develop in the flour because we want a really nice, smooth dough. Once your dough is nice and smooth, cover it with a damp paper towel and allow it to rest for about 10 minutes. After the dough has finished rested, we're going to break these into about 2-inch size dough balls. Now I'm like making mine pretty small, but if you wanted to make them bigger, you can. So just break off pieces, form it into little dough balls, and place it on your surface. I could see the specks of spices in there. Looks really good and it smells really good too. Now you will want to keep these covered because if you don't, they're going to dry out pretty quickly on you. So guys, we're going to allow our dough balls to rest for 5 minutes, and here I have the filling already cooled out. In the meantime, you want to put up your oil on a medium-low heat. So let's start filling our dough balls. And I'm gonna try not to use any dry flour, and we're going to open this out. So I'm gonna use my rolling pin just because I want it to be nice and even, and I'm gonna try not to use any dry flour. In that way it's easier for it to close, because if you have too much of dry flour, it's hard for it to stay closed in the oil. It tends to open out. And I would roll it in an oval shape. It doesn't have to be circle, because I want these to look like an aloo pie. Now I'm gonna take my filling and place it on one half. Make sure you have raisins when you're putting it in here. And then you're gonna take this side and bring it over to close. Press down. Just be careful. Squeeze any air out. And now I'm gonna take a fork and I'm just gonna press on the edges to make sure that it's sealed properly. And that's my first Goja or Gujiya that I filled. Okay, so now it's time to fry the pies, or the Gujiyas, or the Goja, however you may pronounce it. So they're going to go into your oil on a medium heat. They're not going to take very long to cook. You just want them to get nice and golden on both sides. So this first two is finished. Once it has a nice, beautiful golden color, you take them out and drain them on some paper towels. So I'm gonna continue frying the rest, and I'll see you guys right back. Okay guys, let's cut into one of this so you guys can see. It's nice and soft. Ooh, look at that. Perfect. And that dough is very thin, and that's how I like it. I don't like it thick and doughy at all. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed this recipe for Goja or Gujiya. Make it, let me know down below if you like it. If you make it differently, comment and let me know how you make it. Thank you guys so much for requesting this, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.